Let's bring in Khosro Isfahani. He is with the National Union for Democracy in Iran. You are based in DC. Khosro, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So just set the scene for us, for our viewers and our friends who aren't familiar with what the National Union for Democracy in Iran does. Just tell us a little bit about your organization.
NUFDI, or National Union for Democracy in Iran, is a bipartisan organization that is trying to raise the voice of Iranians, the people that, as you mentioned, have risen up in their country with absolute bravery in face of absolute evil. What we have been seeing over the past few days is a nation that is ready to sacrifice everything, all shreds of life that they have held together dearly over the years, to achieve liberty. You mentioned that you have Iranian American colleagues, people who had to flee their homeland after the 1979 Islamic Revolution in Iran, when a bunch of lunatic ayatollahs took over a very beautiful, very rich country. People, millions of Iranians over the years, have had to leave their homeland, find new homes in many places, including the United States, which has been a generous host to many of us. But millions of Iranians are fighting for liberty in the country and outside. Over the week, we have received videos. As you said, internet has been caught, but people using scans, Starlink devices that have been delivered in the country to send us videos, short testimonies. They are speaking of brutal, bloody crackdown on protesters. There was one testimony, and there are videos of it, that security forces are now dumping bodies of slain protesters in front of their families and telling them to search between the bodies and find yours, as in find the body that belongs to your loved ones. But people are still on the streets. The other day, there was this video of this old lady, tufts of white hair in the air, blood gushing out of her mouth after being beaten up, and she was still chanting. She was chanting that I'm not afraid. I have been dead for 4 decades. I'm here to fight. We are seeing videos of Iranians on the streets chanting for freedom, chanting the name of Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as the unparalleled and unchallenged leader of the opposition, the man who has stood tall on his and never betrayed his principles, has always made it clear that he's not going to betray Iranians. He's not going to make a deal with the Islamic Republic. He's not seeking a political position for himself. The only thing that this man has ever wanted, has ever called for, is liberation of Iran, and he's now offering his life, his abilities to lead Iran during the transition period. We are seeing a nation in revolution, a brave nation that is willing to do everything that it takes to liberate Iran.
One of the things that plays over and over in my mind when I see these videos is a video that that I saw over the weekend, and it probably was posted by my colleague Michelle Ross, but it was a young man whose face had been blurred or pixelated, and he said, "My mom wants me to come home. My mom said, 'What are you doing? They will kill you. They will kill you. They will kill you.'" And he kept saying, "But I'm dead. I'm dead already. There is nothing for me. If I don't do this, I die. If I do this, I die. The outcome is the same, but at least in this situation, I have the ability. There is a chance that life could improve." And I think about his voice, as I see these images, and I think that probably can be magnified 100, a million times over when you think about, as you said, the oppression that so many, particularly young people who feel the need to really fight for this, have endured.
Yeah. There is this video from another protest cycle. This young man joining the rallies, he's recording himself on his phone. And he argues, I'm also someone's son, and I'm willing to give myself to liberate my homeland. Iranians have been doing this for years. I was born and raised in Iran. I lived in that country until 2021. I have been on the front line of every cycle of protest. People like me, people like Puya Bakhtiyari who died in Iran, people who are dying right now in Iran. We have put our lives on the line because we know the Islamic Republic is a threat to humanity. This is a terrorist regime that wants to export its brand of Islamism around the world. This is the regime that brought October 7th to us. This is the regime that has killed US servicemen across the world. This is the regime that has been involved with bombing of Jewish religious centers. This is the regime that has killed thousands of innocent Syrians to prop up Bashar al-Assad in Syria. This is the regime that provided drones that were used by Russia in its pursuit of war across the world. This is the regime that is a threat to human life on earth. President Trump, you mentioned, has drawn a line in the sand that if this regime is going to kill, like in the past, the Iranian people, he is going to act. In the past, we have heard similar words from American and world leaders. In 2009, I was on the streets of Tehran. We were chanting, Obama, Obama, you're either with them or with us. President Obama ignored that call. He did the same thing during the Syrian uprising. People were gassed and he didn't do anything. Iranians have been killed in thousands. They are bleeding on the streets. Today we were receiving messages, a testimony from Tehran. Someone was saying people with empty hands are on the streets, sacrificing their lives, risking their lives, risking the life of their loved ones, and their hope is that external aid will come. There is this protest video from Iran. This old man is holding two words up. The sign that he's holding has two words, Trump, help. That's it.
And that is
The
wanted.
from
We've seen
Iranians is very
intervention.
clear.
Yeah, we've seen intervention in other countries, of course. We just saw it in Venezuela, where the Venezuelan people were cheering for the Trump administration because Maduro is at least temporarily out of country and out of power. What do Iranians on the ground want? Do they want the U.S. to intervene? And what does that intervention look like? Do you? Because I ask you this because I often feel as though there is a complete disconnect between what we hear here in the States and what the feeling is on the ground. So what are you hearing from people there? Do they want U.S. intervention?
As I told you, a man on the street was holding the sign Trump help. There were people on the streets in Iran literally changing the names of the streets to President Trump.
Wow.
President Trump, despite every criticism that some Americans have for him, is one of the most popular American presidents in the country. The thing is, a lot of people in the West forget what blessings they benefit from. A lot of people in the United States live with fortune that God has provided this nation. God has provided this nation with liberty, justice, and much more than that. As an immigrant, as an exiled person who has found a safe haven in the United States of America, I appreciate every shred of freedom and liberty that this nation has provided me. Many Iranians in that country hope to achieve the same dreams that Americans live and don't appreciate. We are fighting for the same standards that many Americans ignore and turn their back on. That's why Iranians appreciate every single word that comes out of President Trump's mouth, because we have hope that this man who has held his ground, who has delivered on his promises, would deliver on this promise as well. Help needs to come from outside. The other day, there was a video of Iranians rallying outside a police station. There were officers inside armed. People outside were chanting, "Put down your arms and no harm will come to you." Iranians have already won. The Islamic Republic has already fallen in their hearts and in their minds. It's only a matter of time, not if. And Iranians have a good memory. We will remember who stood by our side, who helped us. We are a nation with wealth, with ability. You mentioned your Iranian American colleague. Anyone who has crossed paths with Iranians in this country knows that we have built businesses, we have built knowledge, technology, we have brought a lot with ourselves. We have benefited from your hospitality, but we have offered a lot in return. Imagine a nation of 90 million Iranians liberated from the shackles of this Islamist state, what we would be able to offer the international community. Liberation of Iran can be a turning point for human history. It can reshape the Middle East.
Yes, I was going to say that. I was going to say that a democratic Iran can only change completely the balance of power and the dynamics of the Middle East. Khosro, we're
And
going
we have a leader who has that vision. Years before coming to this historic moment, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi introduced the Cyrus Accord as in a continuation to the Abraham Accord. We want peace and stability in the Middle East for every nation that lives in that region. We are at a historic juncture. We need to reach out and make it happen.
Khosro, we're going to leave it there for this evening. I am the granddaughter of two people who love to travel. And before my grandmother passed away years ago, she said the most beautiful place on earth that she had been to was Iran. She said the beauty of the landscape was only met by the beauty of the people. And so it's my hope one day that I can go and visit the same country that she used to rave about. And I used to hear stories about when I was a kid. But for your friends and your family and those that you love, you know, I pray that freedom comes quickly and that you have everything that you and your friends and your family are fighting for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khosro. We'll check in with you another time. We do appreciate it.